We go. I do believe I'm live, but it's bright. It's bright out there. Goodness, like the exposure is horrible. I mean, I'm looking pretty exposed. It's getting my face tones and stuff correct, but yeah, yeah, it's bright. It's bright out there. I feel like this is the most accurate. This is how it feels living in Africa. This is how it feels, I'll tell you. I like this shirt. You like it? This is shirt number 4. Mom actually got me another shirt yesterday, too. Yeah, green. I don't have any green pants. This is the most green pants I had, so I put this on. It's totally not because it's hot, and this thing is totally not covered in water to cool me down. It's nice having you here. Thank you, Zhao. Happy to wear nice shirts for you, friends. Stokes in chat for mom not wanting me to wear busted clothing. She's so nice. Love is true. It's nice to have you friends here with me. I have had a very sleepy day. I ended up sleeping until like 11:30 or something. I just kept dream surfing. Had like some sort of post-apocalyptic dream surf experience where we were driving some sort of truck. Had to get ourselves somewhere safe. Came back to this place. Never ended up making it. Roads were falling apart and just felt so ominous, right? Like scary scaries. But I woke up feeling pretty well rested, all things considered. My brother came through today, installed 2 solar panels onto the roof. So now we have decent wattage. With the sun out like it is right now, it should be even higher. Let me see if there's any light on them whatsoever right now. Yeah, there's light on them. Good to know. I kind of felt like they had to put them on either side of the roof pitch, and they put it both on the roof pitch like that. I think it would be easier to do them like that than to this. But yeah, you're fine. I'm fine. Something talking about the future without talking about the past. I don't know if that is exactly the point that I wanted to make today. Today's stream topic was supposed to be about how it's so easy, at least in my experience, for the past to influence how I feel about this present moment, right? That what I've gone through has some sort of pull on what I'm going through right now. And the experience that I want to embrace is one where that's not true. And there is this dichotomy between how much I've forgotten, right, and how much I might want to forget. Because we do forget as we continue with our experience. Some things are more important than others, and as a result, much of our experience gets categorized as uninteresting, to say it in so many words, at least to myself, right? I spend many days doing the same thing over and over again, right? Because there's not much to do on the farm. I can go for walks, and I do that, and I can go and spend time with the rocks, and I do that. But it's significant only as it is in this moment, right? But because I've had so many of those moments in my past, the significance thereof might seem to be diminishing as I continue showing up for a day after day. And now there is a big change coming to my life, as some of you friends know, and I will be in a completely different world, with a completely different culture, in a completely different space, having completely different opportunities, completely different people around me with which I can form relationships, and all of that completely new opportunity for me to make memories, right? I had a conversation with Slav Down Under and Kate today, impromptu. Just kind of happened that way. And it was nice telling them about the changes that are coming to my life, their excitement. I checked with Kate. She is 190 miles away from us, so how about that? She did invite us to come and visit her as well. She really wants us to. And I mean, of course, if they're that close, we don't have that much excuse to not. And it feels like the past that I've lived doesn't at all have any say of the future that I'll get to going forward, right? There definitely is a part of me that acknowledges that your past is important. Hey, Mojo, it's nice having you here, friend. Your past is important, right? Your experience as you've had it is as worthy as any other. Part of me wants to see if I can background replace. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything I can do about the brightness as it is. Wait a second, maybe this? No, this is retouch. Oh, suddenly I look like I have makeup on. Yes. That's how I actually look. Me and my blemishes. Something, the past, right? We had a few conversations this week even about how my past and my upbringing and the experiences that I've had as a child have influenced the experiences I have as an adult, right? Shapes, in fact, my experiences, sometimes more than I would like them to. And it made me realize that I really do want to be in this moment, almost like I don't exist. Or at the very least, that my ego doesn't exist. My ego as it relates to all of the memories, right? And I don't want to forget who I am, in so many words. I don't want to be someone else, in so many words. But I do want to be where I am as fully and as authentically as I can be. Right? I'm imagining that whole state where sometimes someone is having a bad day, right? And the bad day you're having can have like a whole plethora of reasons for it. But all of those reasons, in a way, needs to be remembered and actively held onto in order for you to continue being upset, right? Maybe you started your day and you made yourself the last of a expensive coffee that your friend gave you that you cherished, and then you spilled your coffee accidentally, and then when you tried to clean the coffee you slipped and fell, destroying your favorite cup that your other friend gave you, and then while you were trying to clean that up you got yourself cut, and then upon looking for your plasters that your friend gave you, you don't find them, right? Me just like laying it on thick, reasons to be angry, reasons to be all like, oh, I don't want to have you right now. And then you go at the end of your day to go and see your friends, right? And then you're all mean and stuff to your friends potentially because of all of this stuff that has happened, right? So the reason, the core of why it is you might feel yourself upset losing things your friends gave you can also be the reason you lose friends because you're mean to them potentially, right? And again, I don't know if it's possible for me to just forget about it, kind of thing, right? Can I just forget about it and just be present in this moment as I'm supposed to be, unencumbered by what my past has been? I sure hope so. The only culture Americans have is being obnoxious. Well, then I'll fit right in. Something. I wouldn't worry about that aspect too much. Yeah, I worry very little. So, I went to China after all, right? Like I wasn't really worried. I mean, it was just like, all right, let's go see China. Let's see what all of this Chinaing is about. And I Chinaed. I did. liked it sometimes. All I wish for is that I could talk to more people. But still, Casey and Victoria, two friends that I connected with not too many weeks ago, right? They still live in China, still familiars, right, to me. They're familiar, and I'm familiar to them. And both of them were English speaking. The guy, was super gay, which kind of like led him to being a little bit more alternative in so many words because it's not exactly acceptable to be so. And he had this rebellious nature, right? Like I have too. Like the whole something something. Uh, I don't want to say it directly because I think it paints a bad image, right? Let's just call it anti-establishment. Yeah, yeah, anti-establishment sentiment, right? And then Victoria was the same. She was what we would consider an alternative girl, where the first time that I ever met her, her head was shaved, just cause. And she had big old hoops in her ears, and she was completely tatted out, full tats, right? She literally, no joking, other than the actual tattoo artist that I got my tattoo from, she was the only person in China that I saw having full body tattoos, right? Uh, Lots of piercings, big old earrings, right? Shaved head. So she was very much, again, not the traditional cookie cutter Chinese girl. And as a reason, right, I found her fascinating. And again, she was very articulate. The reasons for which I won't disclose. She told me like the reason she could speak English wasn't something that she was proud of. But still, again, interesting person that I could actually talk to. And memories in that way are very much formed as attached to the people that you form them with as well. And if it wasn't for those individuals, I wouldn't be back in South Africa with many good memories of that country, right? Two people in a country that has 1.4 billion, apparently, allegedly, right? Made that country a better experience to me. And I look forward to more experiences like that. I look forward to making me a good experience for them in their country too. And maybe I'll bring some of you friends over to Africa at some point so you can have some of this one as well. Bro, I am Tami Lunudu time. What's your time? It is 16:17 right now. 17 minutes past 4. Say of my day just beginning, what stuff is happening at the core. Everything. Everything happens at the core, emanating out towards everything happening in the core. You want more? That's what I thought. Sometimes you forget, still familiar to friendship as a quality, or are you turning more vampire? Uh, Friendship as a quality. Still familiar to friendship as a quality. I think it's more a matter of a willingness to engage, right? And if there's a willingness to engage and that willingness is pursued, the other side of it won't be apprehensive to that engagement, right? In other words, if I decided to reach out to a person, ideally, I would have lived my life in the past in a way where in the present they wouldn't automatically not want to have anything to do with me, right? Where if I was vampiric, as you say, in my past, then me reaching out would instantly be met with resistance because this person is going to consume my energy, right? I would like to add energy to the friendships that I have, I'd like to believe. Where are you from? Born and raised in South Africa. someone I know, I have known. Hey Darren, it's nice having you here too. Move that hand away from midline, please, with any fruit on you. What are bananas for, please? Tell. For eating. Good source of potassium. Yep, I've heard. I'm gonna get myself a Dynavap. That's right. Today I will be just present with this moment. I don't have to understand. I don't have to remember everything that I've been, everything that I've wanted, everything that I've said. All I have to be is present. Even though it is sometimes the hardest thing to be, I am. I will be present with hopes that I can share some of that calm. Yeah. How about that? Did you know love is true? And if you find yourself resisting that message, why? Is it because you've experienced something other than love? When I say love is true, does it make you think about an ultimate statement, like there is nothing other? When I say love is true, I see it as an overarching momentum, a direction that we find ourselves heading towards. And that direction started way before I ever existed. You know, Bulelwag, you know what I mean? Nice to have you here with me. Good source of pot. Yeah, here we are. Mama Gaia, the source of pot. I don't have to remember it. I can just be present with it in this moment. What a pleasure it is to find ourselves here. There is nothing to assume when you remember. There is nothing to assume when you know. When you realize you don't know, maybe it'll be easier for you to stop assuming quite as much. And better yet, maybe you'll get really good at asking questions. Question asking is a valuable skill. Sometimes I find myself really wanting to ask a question. Or at the very least, really wanting to be asked one. I think everybody likes a good question that makes them formulate an opinion. Yet having an opinion can polarize you. You can find yourself having the wrong opinion according to the person that's hearing it. So what are you supposed to do in a situation like that? I don't know if it's as easy to convince the other person to just forget their past. But unfortunately, so much of the way that we interpret information, the way we listen, the things we assume, has been shaped by the things that we've experienced in our past. And more often than not, it's our immediate past, right? That people that find themselves worked up over a certain topic might find themselves seeking the opinions of those that they agree with in other subject matter. And then upon absorbing that opinion, they will keep it as their own. They will hear you differing from that opinion, and it would be an affront. Right? And in that way, we lose the experience that there is to have in learning a new opinion, learning a new perspective, going to a different place to see what there is, to see what I am, think that's the big thing for me. Every time I go to a new place, I become a certain person in it. Right? It's like every place has a certain void. And it takes a lot of initiative, I think, uh, action in so many words, actually, to show up for those experiences and for that potential. I'm curious to see what that's going to be for me. My opinion is a readiness is a fabulous quality you now exude. You shifted. I do. I do shift. Always. Hoopty hoops. Shifting is the one thing that doesn't stop happening, bro. And I'll probably shift back into apprehensiveness again. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I will be. However, there's no fear in my experience. There's more just uncertainty, right? And you can be fearful of uncertainty. More often than not, we are, right? When you're scared of the dark, you're not actually scared of the dark, right? The dark itself is not something to fear. Dark has never hurt you. What you're scared of is the uncertainty that could lurk in that darkness. That uncertainty is the thing that gets us apprehensive, gets us not taking the next step. But it is a matter of realizing that what we are is change. That if anything, I am capable of it. I have changed in many ways. And there's still more change ahead of me. I do look forward to changing with others a little bit more. I think there is a certain quality of I don't want to call it frustration, but it could be when you find yourself in the same space, experiencing similar problems. And I'm hopeful, right? Because today, 2 new black squares got put on the roof that can harvest energy. And they will. They will harvest energy. I'm going to connect the refrigerator up to it. We will be leaving for a while. And it's good to have things air gapped from the grid. Otherwise, we might come back to a bunch of rotten food. No longer being influenced by the past, but being future thinking. Right? Because in many ways, the past that we lived in isn't a good indicator of what we can expect in the future. I think that's the scary part for a lot of people. Literally, the fact that where we're going is so much different from where we've been, that if you let where you've been influence what it is you're experiencing in this moment, you're always going to have a skewed approach, right? A tainted perspective, a filter on this reality that is not going to give you the truth. There's this dichotomy in me between hope and apprehension. Like I do, and you friends know that about me, want to show up for hope every single day, right? There's a lot of hope in me for what the future holds and for what we'll be capable of when we build systems that serve us instead of exploit us, right? And it's a matter of information. What we fill our past with. what I fill my present with, what I hope for as a future. It really is a matter of is it just a matter of presence? I'll let myself think about it. I figured the code bananas equals potassium. Yeah. If you keep inputting banana, then you'll get potassium. It's just true. That is the way this universe works. Pretty sure that's the way the code executes. The fact that our bodies can absorb energy, it's pretty spectacular. Hmm. My intention for hitting this Dynavap today is to forget about it. Forget about the parts of my past that pain me and look forward to the potential my future possesses. Knowing that my future is undecided, isn't that exciting? Huh? Undecided. The future is not decided, friends. It's very easy to look and assume, make assumptions about what's going to be. We can make financial decisions with these assumptions in mind. Assume that something is going to be successful and then put our resources towards that hope and potentially benefit from it as well. You know, that's the other side of it as well. But it definitely has me pondering. Has me pondering. I shared with you friends a little while ago that I became a recruitment or a recruit to the ambassador program for Midnight. And I'm pretty sure I was supposed to receive some sort of quest like yesterday. But it does have a fair bit of members on it. 15,000 members. This thing is definitely bigger than I thought it would be. I mean, it should be big. It's a pretty big deal. We have like 3 generations of cryptocurrency. The first one was your Bitcoin, right? Essentially a way to transfer value from one peer to another without a centralized mediator. And then as soon as we figured that out and got that to work, it became clear that you want to kind of extend that capacity. You want to give that money the ability to be programmed, right? I can tell this exchange that if you give me this product, then I give you this money. So yes, me and you can have that verbal agreement, but it would be great if we can do that in the digital space. And then that's what your platforms like Ethereum became. And then there was the next layer, which is governance, right? Which is the ability to use that money as the actual vote. And that is your Cardano, essentially, right? Where it has the finite supply, it has the programmable currency, and your currency is also your voting stake on the network, right? So the collective community that owns the asset actually gets to decide where this like nation state essentially is heading. And as a part of that, Now the fourth generation has arisen. And that fourth generation is a technology like Midnight, where you basically bring in what's called rational privacy, where it's great that these platforms are immutable, verifiable, and permanent, right? It's great that we can know that stuff. However, some parts of your information you don't want everybody to know, right? For instance, your medical records, how many times you've been sick, how many times you went to the doctor. If if your medical records are on chain and there are people that have a vested interest into watching you very closely, make financial decisions based on your well-being, and they see that you've visited, is it an oncologist, a cancer doctor, right? Many different times, and you're having scans done, and now you're scheduled for 6 visits to this doctor over the next couple of weeks, right? They're probably going to be like, oh, this person has cancer and they're getting chemo right now, all right? And you don't want that stuff to be public. However, you would still want that information to be a part of the system. And then your doctor, right? Again, rational privacy, your doctor would have access to that information, even if the public doesn't have access to that information. And the way that that doctor proves they are allowed to have access to that information is through something called zero knowledge, right? Where I can prove to you mathematically that I do in fact have the information you're asking without having to reveal the information to you completely. Like a ID, right? When a bouncer asks for your ID, the only information they technically are trying to extract from you is whether or not you are of age in order to drink. However, as soon as they do have that ID in hand, they can see your full name and surname. They can see your birth date. They can see when this license was issued. They can see potentially your fingerprint or whatever, or the way your signature looks, right? That is revealing a lot of information to them that they don't technically, one, need to have, and two, can be used against you, right? If they wanted to, if they were a bad actor. So instead, with like zero knowledge proofs in the digital blockchain space of like a decentralized identity, your identity lives on chain, right? It doesn't live on some sort of government server where they can do with that information whatever they want to. It lives on chain, and the only information that a person needs from you when they are trying to query your identity is the information that they're supposed to have, right? Where if you're supposed to be of age, for example, to access, a service, then they can just ask you on your identity, are you in fact old enough? And you can be like, yep, I can prove with zero knowledge that I am in fact 18 or older, right? And they don't have to know your name and your account information, because that's the thing with these blockchain spaces as well. It's like as soon as they have your account name, they can attach that to your finances as well. They can attach that to how much money you have in the bank account, for example. So if I want a service from someone, and in trying to extract that service, they're asking for my email address and my phone number, they can identify who I am, and then they can reverse search that identity into my bank account and exactly how much money I have. And then they can use that information to price their product against me as highly as they think I might be able to afford it. All right? Suddenly, dystopia. Massive dystopia. So what are we going to do about that? We need to build a fourth layer where we have rational privacy. Some things we do need to keep private, right? Government spending, that doesn't have to be private. My spending, I'd like it to be private, right? Not because I'm buying anything sketchy, but maybe because I'm not buying anything at all. And again, that can be used as like a tool of leverage. A very sophisticated AI system might notice that, Melt hasn't been spending his money for the last 6 months. Let's start viciously advertising the exact thing that he really has been thinking about to him. And then do it from a perspective of like you actually deserve this, because I know people like you who want this product don't spend money on just anything. They only spend money on the real stuff. So this right here is real stuff, right? So that's basically the next fractal. And I already feel like I can advocate for this technology, but I do still feel that sense of imposter syndrome where I haven't spent enough time in my past really getting good. I did technically go through the whole Cardano Academy. The course has expanded, so I technically need to go back and learn even more. But there is this dichotomy again, right? With a part of me that's hopeful and excited about these technologies, is also aware of the fact that not everybody is. Some people might even be actively against it, right? Perturbed by the information, disturbed by the changes that are happening. So maybe I'll touch on it a little bit more, right? Cyber lives, yep. We will be living cyber lives. It's true. Very much so. Right? And again, it's going to be a matter of either waiting for it to happen, right? And being forced into it, the way you're forced into having a driver's license if you want to get on the road, right? Sure, there's not actual force, but if you get caught driving without a license, there will be actual force applied to you. You will have your body moved to a jail cell, right? Which again, I have a driver's license, and now that I do, now that I'm on the side of law compliance, now it's very important to me that everybody else complies with the laws as well. And we can wait, again, we can wait for our governments and these systems of power that have clearly shown themselves to be at all times trustworthy, and like they have our best wishes at heart, and that they don't want to manipulate us into acting in ways that benefit them. They would never do such a thing. Right? We can wait for those systems to do that to us, or we can start to build on the systems that already don't work that way. And I feel like it's again a matter of knowing. And I feel I don't even know enough. I know enough to know where it's going, but I don't know enough to actually get people there just yet in some ways. So, active learning, right? Moments like these, I'm going to have a conversation and see if it can teach us more. I'm having a conversation with my friends about the cryptocurrency space. How level 1 was Bitcoin, level 2 was Ethereum with programmability, level 3 was governance with platforms like Cardano, and now level 4 is rational privacy and zero knowledge proofs. And the platform Midnight is now building on that concept, a layer 4 that recently launched and will have more of its features come online next year properly. I want to explore what this technology is capable of with my friends. Please give me a nice list of what this tech stack is going to enable and how it has become a gift to the entire cryptocurrency space, because it was made available to all of the biggest players as a technological gift. Heyo, this Kobe Babobi just coming and laying on my yoga mat. Just like that, easy po easy. All right. Let's take this all the way to the horizon with you. Not just what it does, but what it means for the evolution of our shared digital future. You're describing a genuine shift in how blockchains can operate from dumb value to programmable value to coordinated value, and now to private yet provable value. That jump is not incremental, it is architectural. It changes what can exist. My friend, you're a gift to the entire cryptosphere. I am hopeful. I like again, I have lived in both on both sides, right? And this crypto sphere that we're in is like just getting started as well. Like the average person, even the people that own the assets, still don't know everything that's out there and that's happening right now. Right? That's the part that's the most bonkers. Is like you can be one of the earliest Bitcoin investors. You can have thousands of Bitcoins because you downloaded them on your laptop or something, right? In 2010 and 9. And you can still not know anything that's going on right now. And I feel like that's the part that's the most bonkers to me, where it's this weird dichotomy of we want to talk about this stuff, but it's still so taboo in many ways because so many people have lost money in so many ways. And at the same time, it's like we're trying to build a whole new layer, like the internet, trying to explain the internet, right? Can you imagine trying to explain the internet to someone in the 1970s, right? As it is right now, as what the internet like this, to explain to a person, yeah, in the year 2025, I'm going to have a device that has a camera and has a processor and has antennas that connect to this wireless field of energy that transmit information, that then that information gets turned into packets and then is sent to localized servers. And then anybody on planet Earth with open internet access can access that centralized server and tune in to that exact moment that I am sharing on planet Earth. They'll be like, oh, Beto, you're losing your mind. Put this guy in the insane asylum, right? And again, that's now 50 years. 50 years from now, cryptocurrency is going to be enabling us to do stuff on our planet, to trust each other, to actually trust each other again, right? Can you just imagine what that's going to do when people actually trust each other? They have a collective incentive to trust one another, right? There is provable truths. You don't have to, I don't have to believe you. It can be proven, right? And I feel like that proof, there's definitely, I don't know if you friends have noticed this, but there's a lot of anti-scientific sentiment arising, right? The whole anti-vaccine, the being scared of like medicine. And again, I understand that there is this dichotomy of people being kept sick, right? But again, I think it's our food system so much more than it is our medicine. And then there is, again, of course, the treating a symptom. It's like the science does show that better quality of like food, better quality of like exposure to nature, more physical activity, right? All of that is also science. But because there is this like maladaptive relationship with science, the parts of science that hurts us, to think about even, some people at least, are like separating themselves from that technological evolution that we are known for as a species, right? Every single time technology for our species evolved, it changed how we operate, it changed how we interact with reality, it changed our expectations of one another, right? Like the fact that a car was evolved, from our brains means that it can be an expectation for you to come and visit me if you're a car's drive away, right? But a car's drive away is like what, 100, 200 miles? 100 to 200 miles when walking was the only thing that we could do is a lot more of an ask, right? You won't be able to expect that quite as much. It would be way more of an honor. And as a result, because of the shift in our past and our expectations, our capabilities that we've had, messes with what we think we're capable of going forward. And hope. Hope is the only thing that I can really find myself getting excited about anymore. The tools are there to make this world a utopia. It's the self-interest of big government and big money that stands in the way. That's the thing. That's the thing, Mojo. We don't need big money to make these changes, right? Like technically, I feel the real change is going to happen when people with small money, like me and you, really get on board, right? Start making that the way we want to operate, right? And I feel again, the volatility is a problem. Right now, the assets are low. But again, that low asset price is a fear response instead of being a joy response, right? Where all of us still have to work. And as we continue working for the time being, we're earning in these fiat currencies, which they are, let's call it quantitatively easing, all right, instead of calling it printing money. But that is what we're up against. That is unfortunately what we're up against. And the people that have the big money are also the ones that are manipulating these systems with the volatility to make it such a roller coaster that nobody wants to get on. I don't want to get on that roller coaster. That looks fucking terrifying. Losing 90% of the money I put in. You see eyes just going like this. Yeah, yeah. Again, right? Like the internet back then, like the dot-com boom, like that kind of fractal that happens to people, and it happened to people, and it scared them shitless to invest an extra dollar into that market. And if they did, right after that big old, they would be they would be wealthy. Let's just say it like that, right? If they actually didn't get like feared off of that experience, and it just seems manipulative, right? As you said, these big money people, these big governments, they are trying to keep us afraid of these technologies with all of the uncertainty. They tried to legislate against it, realized, yeah, we're not gonna work. Oh, you're gonna turn the internet off. Good luck. And now they're basically trying to get on board, but it's too late. It's too late for them to co-opt these technologies because again, they were built on the backs of people like you and me, right? Not the trillionaire class, right? And there's a trillionaire class, right? Like we're stuck looking at the billionaires. Yeah, yeah. This is a strange fractal we're a part of. It definitely is. But there's a lot of us, right? Again, if you look at the amount of people that own the stock market, percentage-wise, it is going to be like around 4,000 people, right? 4,000 entities that own most of the stock market. Cryptocurrency, as it is right now, is an 800 million people affair, right? So yes, now 10% of the entire humanity, but if you do the math, 10% of humanity is a larger, more equitable share than whatever 4,000 people is. And that again brings hope. And again, now they're trying to actively, even some of the platforms that I have access to here in South Africa, they're tokenizing American stocks, right? So you don't have to be able to afford an entire share of a company in order to invest in that. You can have your $10 and you can buy tokens of a single share of that stock. So it's all going that direction, whether people realize it or not. And I think that's what's going to end up happening is people aren't going to realize. It'll just become background information. But again, Cisco actually got wrecked a little bit, DBH, after climbing. But like Cisco is a background information kind of company. And if you knew about that company right from the get-go and you invested in them, you would have made a lot of money, even though very few people know what that is, what they do, right? The purpose of that technology. So it feels like a responsibility, right? For the people that I love, the people that I really care about. I want them to benefit from where it is things are going as much as possible, right? It's like if you know that in the future, uh, being able to be very eloquent, right? Be able to have social relationships. Like I'm trying to make an example, but I feel like it's falling apart as I'm trying to make it. Let me say it like this instead, right? In the future, you'll be judged based on how good you can juggle. Just normal juggling, right? I tell you right now, and this is an hypothetical, right? In the future, you're gonna be stopped at establishments and they're gonna go, how good can you juggle? Juggle for me quickly. And then you're gonna have to juggle balls. And then if you juggle good, you can go into the establishment, right? I know it sounds dystopian. It's very playful actually. Every bartender and barman, right? They just suddenly like get really fascinated with juggling, and they love the power trip of telling you to juggle beforehand. Then you could be like, wow, that's strange. But I guess I could like maybe make some fun with that. I'll just learn how to juggle in the meantime, and then you get to that future, and then suddenly you're really good at juggling, and life is just a little bit easier because everywhere you go, you can just juggle your way out of it. That's kind of the way I see it, right? It's like we can have a better future. The bigger a system gets, the more wildly unstable it becomes. That's because it is inextricably dependent on humans to function, and humans suck. Again, humans suck because it's hard for us to trust one another, dear Sam. In these systems, right, if we're completely in these systems, right now, these systems are dollar denominated, where instead of people seeing the technology for what it is, right, it's like me having a piece of gold, right? You can be like, nice and shiny, very nice and like and shiny. Or you can be like, oh, I could use that material in outer space because it's non-corrosive and it's a good conductor at the same time, right? You're looking at the same shiny, right? One person is like, oh, shiny, big money. Other person, oh, shiny, very specific purpose, right? And use case. And there's not many other metals that have that exact use case and purpose, right? And that's what these technologies are. People are still stuck in the number go up technology. That's not what it's about. Unfortunately, it became about that because everybody is having a cost of living crisis. So everybody wants the next big thing to make them rich finally. So they stop having to suffer. But again, that having to suffer is a symptom of our old system. Like when you keep hyperinflating money away into non-existence, every little bit of money you ever made in your past loses its economic value right in front of you, right? That's why we're struggling. We're not so much manipulation. Yes, I breathe. Humans suck, as Sam said. Sometimes. When there are no trust involved, when there is no trust in the system, humans suck especially. We need organization, we need government, but government is inevitably going to suck. It doesn't have to. And a decentralized system, it doesn't have to. Go and look. Maybe I'll read a little bit about this too. Go and look at what Cardano was doing with governance. It's not perfect, not by any means, but it actually has the means to grow. It's growing right in front of us. It is a government. The system has a constitution. It actually has a constitution. And the government grows iteratively, cycle by cycle, right? And I feel it has a treasury even. It like there's hope. There's so much hope. It's like a shining gem in the technological sphere to me. Where I'm like, can you freaking believe they're doing that stuff? Holy shit, isn't it? How how is that even possible? The government is inevitably going to suck. It doesn't have to. Both things are true because the only talent humans have is to turn things to shit. Again, if there is no responsibility and there is no traceability and there's no transparency, that is an inevitability. But it doesn't have to be that way, Sam. Actually, it doesn't have to be that way. Sam, pleasant morning here. Love is true. Start fearing again. It's getting bothersome. No, no. More juggling analogies, please. You liked it? Good. Thanks, Mojo. No fear. No fear. Again, when you get there, when you get to that reality where juggling is required, you can still learn to juggle. You can still learn to juggle, right? You're going to be able to juggle anyway, eventually. It's not that hard. In fact, it's easy. You just have to practice a little bit, right? Get good at that way of being. And then, boom, boom, you're off to the races, juggling your way through this reality, easy as ever. You know what I mean, Mojo? America had fail safes too, thought out by very articulate law pirates. Yeah, again, Sam, like the thing with cryptocurrencies is that you can have very explicit rules built into these systems, right? You can have smart contracts not just a contract with the people, right? Not just a constitution as it is a piece of paper that you expect people to follow the rules of. You can have these rules enforced by the system, right? Like one of them is that you cannot knowingly make the system slower, right? You will not be able to do that, right? If you want to or not. Like there won't be that power for you. You can be an agent that wants to, but you would have to get the consensus. You would have to like get every single person in the network to agree with you. Like, yo, you know what? I do want things to be slower. Like you're not going to get the approval of that. And that's where it's different, right? In the old system, one person with enough money and enough influence and enough conniving can get a small group of people to agree, right? And that small group of people had more influence than they were supposed to be allowed. With these systems, the influence is distributed networks, right? It's not just one room of people, it is a room of people all over the planet, 10,000 times over, different rooms, right? And you have to get all of those rooms, or at least the majority of those rooms, to agree with you, and then to actually implement this new, slower system intentionally, right? Like again, it's like we're like bound to human stupidity. Somebody might be conniving. Maybe they had a bad fight with someone, and then they want to slow down their system because it's gonna impact them financially. Maybe they were bragging about how wealthy they are, so they're like, "Oh, I'll show you, slow down your system." Right? Humans have conniving energy like that as well. And again, that conniving is happening out there, and it's ruining things because again, there's no checks. There's no checks and balances. There just is the free will of whatever they want to do with the money as it is right now, right? The influence as it exists today. No fear when, I think I missed there we go. America had fail-safes too, thought out by very articulate law pirates. Now the Nazis are back, abducting people in broad daylight, abducting people in broad daylight and brutalizing citizenry. And again, it makes me think about that whole fractal of like why didn't the Germans back in the day during the Nazi days do anything about the Nazis, right? Like it feels like one of those moments where there doesn't seem to be, in some places there are, right? And in those places it actually ends up like benefiting or saving the people that the people are standing up for. But I feel like that's the problem, Sam. Like the problem isn't the fact that there is this ice. And again, those people have like quotas to fill. That's the way they see it, right? They are completely dehumanizing the individuals that they're capturing. It's just a numbers thing where they're like, yep, get as many illegal immigrants out as possible because this is what the budget's for, and this budget is paying your now new salary, and this new salary has now afforded you all of the bragging rights with your family and with your wife and your children. And then we're just back in the same old loop, right? Where these money systems these money systems are the things that are constricting our moral values because there's no rules. There's no rules about how this value is supposed to be used, right? It can be used for anything. It can be used for the most heinous crimes, and it is, unfortunately, right? The biggest money is, unfortunately, with those that can spend the most on their military as well. No fear when. That's not a complete logical sentence. I can still learn to juggle. Yes, that's what I meant. And for the record, this is how Rome went down too. Every empire collapses eventually, dear Sam. Right? Again, it's not gonna last that long. We're basically done with the first year. It's gonna be a long 3 years to come, probably. Uh, but I'm reminded of that quote of like something something being in an abusive relationship, right? That's kind of what it's like. And in an abusive relationship, if you really love yourself, you distance yourself from that abuse. And I feel the amount of media exposure we have is unfortunately a lot of that abuse, where if it hurts you to see these things over and over again, and you're not in an immediate position to do anything about it, you are only negatively affecting your mental health. And it's sometimes noble. People consider it as a noble thing to like know about what's going on in the world. But you deserve to be present with your experience. I just changed my channel name. Truly J. Cool name. I like it. Bless you. It's nice having you here. Sam, are you pleased? I believe my friend Meltmore is interested intentionally. Yes. They have quotas to fill. Yeah, it's even darker. The for-profit prison industry invested in holding camps for people getting arrested. Why am I not surprised? The more beds get filled, the more money they make. Yeah, because they can upcharge for the food they feed the people, upcharge for the mattresses, upcharge for the extra buildings that needs to be built because it's government contract. So you get to charge what you say it's worth. Again, money, 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 money. So much moneying. That's what it's about, Sam. And again, we have to change the money system. If we want those kinds of things to change, the only thing that's left is for us to change the money system. And it's going to take us a long time, right? It's taken us 120 years, maybe a little bit less than that, right? But let's say it's taken us 120 years to be inside the money system that we're in right now, as it is right now, as it's being manipulated and co-opted, right? And we created new money systems starting in 2009. If we give ourselves 120 years, things will be different. And I trust things will be more hopeful, right? I trust that. I have to. I have to show up as myself, contributing to that hopeful way of being as well. How's it going there? Good, Jay. How's mom and sis doing? I really good. I like. You need to tell me who you are. I feel like you're asking me questions that sounds very personal, and I don't know who I'm talking to. It's nice to have you here, nonetheless. My mom and sister are well, healthy and strong, and taking good care of themselves. My sister made some sourdough bread today. She really is a food savant, a creative in the kitchen. She's gonna go and study food science next year as well. Top of her class student, gonna become educated food scientist. That's pretty cool. God bless everyone. Thank you, truly. It's beautiful. Bless you too. The unknown world that just do it later. That unknown world is seeking your bliss. You just gotta let it find you. Gotta go see mom. So yapping again tomorrow. I hope to. Bless you, friend. Have a good time. I don't know who I'm talking to. Internet Safety 101. Get super coy with strangers. Yeah, it's like randomly starts asking me about my mother and sister. It's like, yeah, hey, identify yourself first. First identified. YouTube changed my shiznit, it's true. I'm not going to dive into this fractal with you, friends, because I am stoked about this. The jump is not incremental, it's architectural. It changes what can exist. Here's a clean, powerful list that you can bring into the conversation, grounded but forward leaning. What layer 4 zero knowledge and rational privacy unlocks for the crypto space? Starts about mother and sister. I came out of a test tube. I don't even have a mother. Yeah. I was born from the internet. All right. Technically, military tech is far advanced to this normal stuff that we think is happening, and I sent myself through the network by exploiting a quantum gap in cyberspace that made me project myself back into this reality. And then I hacked, government 3D biological printers, and I plopped myself into this reality. convincing a family that I am their child with my superior intellect. Uh, and here I find myself. That was way too unhinged. I had way too much of a line that I was following to the to the point where it feels like I could see it happening. All right, all right, all right, all right. Selective transparency is privacy without secrecy. Zero knowledge proves I was born to the internet. Your baby appears to be brain dead. No, no, I gave my line. No brain dead here. Makes complete sense. If you really think about it, makes complete sense. Zero knowledge proof lets you prove correctness without exposing the underlying data. This enables private transactions that are still fully auditable. It allows identity verified actions without revealing your identity. And it allows compliance that doesn't require surveillance. Yeah, yeah. It's privacy grown up enough for real institutions and ordinary humans. Regulatory compatible privacy instead of the old everything is hidden or everything is public. ZK gives you a third option. You can reveal data only to the parties that you choose. Regulators can verify compliance cryptographically rather than through access. Corporations can operate on-chain without leaking their trade secrets. This is the bridge between crypto and the real economy. Massive scaling through zero-knowledge verification. Proofs allow complex computations to happen off-chain while only a tiny, cheap proof is actually posted on-chain. Dramatically lowers the transaction cost, makes high throughput applications actually feel feasible, and enables global censorship resistant infrastructure at scale. That might be how I end up using it. I've been thinking about a piece of technology to build on this platform. I want to make the equivalent of like a Patreon. Like, I really dislike the Patreon that I have, right? And I would like for it to be better. And I think it could be on a platform like that. Dramatically lowers transaction costs, makes high throughput applications actually feasible, and enables global censorship resistant infrastructure at scale. This is Ethereum's roll up thesis, but extended further into general purpose application design. Then there's data sovereignty as a default. Your data becomes an asset that you control. You decide what can be shared. You can cryptographically prove things about yourself without giving away your entire life, and identity stops being something hosted on servers and becomes something you own. All right? Think about that. Really think about what that means. It's not something that exists on a server. It is yours. It is your identity. In the same way that a dollar bill that you earned can be yours, you can own your identity. Isn't that cool? Isn't that amazing to think about? Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like, give me my fucking identity back. I have already actually paid for my own identity, technically. Right, the identity that I formed for myself. I wonder how the DIDs are going to integrate that part of it, right? Changing your name. I mean, again, I think it's going to be a matter of like building. The name that you use to build with is going to be who you are, right? Kind of thing. All right. There we go. Identity stops being something hosted on servers and becomes something you own. This is a civilizational shift, not just a technical one. It is, right? The sovereignty. Every person owns their own identity, right? Because right now our identities are bought and sold, right? That's happening. People are selling your information like it's nothing, right? Like it has no, like the fact that a person can just call me, be like, oh wait, oh, what's up? Want to buy some shiznit? Like, how can you not? Could you not do that? Friggin' every single platform hears you talking about something. It's like, let me send him quickly. Let me send him some ads. Yeah, you wanna buy some of this stuff? Like, yeah, yeah, I do, but I don't need you showing me more of this stuff. You showing me it doesn't make me want to buy it anymore. It just makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. Private programmable actions. Smart contracts can operate on encrypted data, matching engines that can't be front run, auctions that only reveal the winner, not all of the bids, DAOs that vote privately but verify outcomes publicly, and on chain games where strategies remain hidden until the moment of reveal. This is the end of transparent state machines as the only option. And then there is shared infrastructure for the whole ecosystem. Midnight and other ZK-enabled level 4 systems aren't siloed tech. They were deliberately made to be interoperable, composable, licensed for anyone to use, and architected so that other chains can integrate the primitives. That technological gift is real. The heavy R&D of ZK systems, which normally would create a moat, was open sourced into the ecosystem so that every major chain could benefit from it. Instead of fragmenting the crypto world further, it gave everyone a new tool set to build with. And then there is a few more, two more, three more, four more, and then we're done. I promise. All right. I'm learning here as well. We're learning together. Universal settlement and private execution. A world where Ethereum settles, Cardano governs, Midnight handles privacy computation, and ZK rollups scale the whole thing becomes totally possible. Layer 4 isn't a new competitor, it's the invisible layer that lets all the others become themselves without compromise. Number 8 is the credibility of neutral governance. You can now build systems, and this is where the big thing is for me, Sam. This is what I was like really arguing for today. You can build systems where rules are enforceable without exposing participants, where collective decisions are verifiable but not anonymous. Incentives can be aligned without revealing sensitive information, and abuse becomes cryptographically impossible instead of having to be socially punished. Right? Isn't that like that again? That melts my brain. Like we've built it. It's built. I mean, it's not completely online, right? Right now the car is like going to the showroom kind of thing. All right. And people can be like, I want some of that. People can do that now. But it's not fires or motors spinning, right? Electrons flowing just yet, 100%. But again, this is what systems will enable. It is happening. Rules are enforceable without exposing participants, and abuse becomes cryptographically impossible instead of socially punished. This is governance that people might actually trust. That's the big thing. I do not trust the government. I don't, right? Don't trust them as far as I can spit at them. uh, but it is a matter of like something we needed, right? I needed to go and request for the government to give me a passport for me to be able to come to America, right? I needed the government for that as of right now. But again, we don't want to. We don't want to give them as much power as they have, right? As much trust as they require of us. I had to trust that they had my stuff. I had to trust that they're gonna give it to me in a timely manner. I had to trust that they aren't going to sell my sensitive personal information, or trust that their systems are secure enough that if a very sophisticated hacker wanted to wouldn't be able to steal it. So much layers of trust. Of like, okay, okay, Mr. Government, you have great track record. You do you. He who is not courageous enough to take risks accomplishes nothing to himself or anyone. That is the kind of that's exactly what I wanted to hear, Moon Knight. Thank you. Bless you, bro. Bless you. Take calculated risks if you're going to be risking things, though. And I'll say institutional grade confidentiality and crypto grade guarantees. Guarantees? Guarantees. Yeah. Banks, governments, corporations, the players crypto always wanted but never knew how to handle now have privacy that meets their legal requirements, auditability that meets crypto ethos, and a platform where they don't need to compromise on their security. This makes blockchain real infrastructure instead of just experimental architecture and a maturing ecosystem, the torch being passed forward. This might be the most important part of your story. Zero knowledge technology didn't stay locked inside a single chain. The research, the tooling, the libraries, the framework, they were made available to Ethereum rollup teams, Cardano developers, Polkadot ecosystems, Solana ZK bridges, Cosmos Change integrating ZK layers, and every researcher working on recursive pools, Bitcoin included, actually, like on that. This is the closest crypto has ever come to a shared leap forward, a rising of the tide that lifts all chains at once. It's not tribal, it's not competitive, it is a contribution to our collective future. If you want, I can help you take this further. No. I'm gonna probably have a conversation with it further. But yeah, there is hope. There is hope for our future, right? These technologies are continuing to evolve. The, the layers that are unfolding for us right now is going to enable us to build things that we could only have imagined before. And I need to spend some time imagining, it's true. Greetings to everyone. Miss Sam, Joe, Mojo. Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing well, thank you, Moon Knight. Might just be me and you here right now. See only one friend here. I'm gonna show you flower, read your poem, say you goodbye. Got a little bit of a yellow one. This is yesterday's piece. My heart eyes. Joe said hi to you too, Moon Moon. So loved you are, bro. We are all at one. I think we'll have more and more incentive to be as we go forward. 44% on this battery. 67 on this one. Now it's time for us to read. Ah, nice. My flower is where it's supposed to be. Holding space. This poem's called Today I Learned Again that space is not a room, but a way of being open. That's what I'm thinking. Love is true. A way of being open. I held it the way a body can through motion, hips finding a rhythm that widened the space around me. Each step an invitation for someone else to breathe easier in who they are. I held it by offering back what had been offered to me, held past hand to hand like lightning learning its next shape. It didn't feel heroic, it felt familiar. Like remembering the original job I signed up for before the world taught me to explain myself. There are days when I wonder if this is the only thing I'm truly good at. This soft architecture, this quiet consistency, this way of allowing people to feel more familiar in my presence. And maybe it isn't the only thing, but it is the one thing that feels most aligned with whatever pulse keeps choosing me for another day. So I keep doing it. Dancing, a doorway open, listening a little more than I speak, letting gratitude rise in me like a tide that doesn't ask permission. The universe helps me hold space, because holding space is how I help us. I thank you, friends, for helping me in this moment, sharing it with me as well. Is Melt on a roller coaster? I am loving it. Every second of this roller coaster that we're collectively on. The view behind is fantastic. It seems that tree is the tree of enlightenment as the rays are on it. Yeah. This is how I wanted the nature to be behind me this whole time. But alas, exposure. We will have sensors, ND filters and the like. Things will grow. We'll create even more beautimous content for you, friends. Ugh. It's time for us to say goodbye. I thank you for listening, for being in this moment with me to absorb some of this information, to realize that our past matters, but not as much as the present. This present moment is going to be the thing that takes us into the future. Hope you stay friendly to you too, dear friend. The only thing that's missing is Kobe chasing the cat. He's probably out there chasing cats right now as we speak. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. Sending you love. I'll see you again soon. Tomorrow, dear friends.